Well, gentlemen, I want to say welcome. I appreciate you guys tuning in to watch this continuation of the spoken word. As you guys know, about 2 years ago, I started on this adventure of wanting to go and interview some of the greats in the radio hobby, at least from my point of view. We'll expand that someday to be some of the amateur operators and stuff, but for right now, we're just focusing primarily on the CB guys. I didn't think that this little project of mine would take me on the path that it's taken me to go meet some of the people I've been lucky enough to go meet. It's overwhelming. Everywhere I call, everybody that I request to go do an interview with, they have literally just opened the doors to their businesses or their homes or whatever, and they've said, come in, let's talk. Which is freaking awesome. Before I go any further, I want to thank our friends down here. Let's see here, it'd be this side of the screen. Our friends over here on the Patreon channel. 99.99% of the financial contributions that come to me through the Patreon channel go to support this work. This road trip that I just went on took a year to plan. It took a year to set the money aside for it. It took a year to work it in the schedule. And it took a good solid 4 months to set up all the locations I went to. It was a crazy road trip. I started out from here on the 2nd of July, and I didn't come home for 28 days, and I was in 26 or 25 different hotel rooms. The total distance traveled was 9,300 and some miles. And I was picking stuff up and dropping stuff off and repairing stuff and meeting people and doing things like non-stop. It was absolutely wonderful. One of the first places that I stopped was at Maco Antennas. The reason I went to Maco, well, you'll find that now Maco owns a lot of different things. We're joined on this video by my friend Paul, 222 out of Illinois. He was my lead liaison to Maco. He'd been there several times. He knew Tom very well. Everybody knows Tom. Everybody, everywhere I went, I'm like, oh, I went over to Maco. I met Tom. Ooh. And it was, oh yeah, we know Tom. We love Tom. He's an interesting guy. I had a great afternoon with him. He sat down and gave us unlimited amount of time. He literally opened the doors to everything in his business and said, come in, let me show you what I do. So you'll find that as we're going here, I literally just stopped talking because my friend Paul just jumped into this co-host role, and I don't know how to put it, he just ran with it. And I think because he had that personal connection with Tom, it makes this video even better. As we're going, things are shot completely out of order. I like to shoot video in order, and you'll find that there's a lot of me walking around with the Sony Handycam, and or not Handycam, but my AR7, and just walking around doing video. And I'll be jumping in here. I'll be monologuing as we go. We're going to start out with us just walking in the front door, and he gives us kind of a short little tour, and then we're going to break and we're going to sit down and just talk about antenna projects, and we're going to walk around. He's going to show us some more stuff. So this was the beginning of the epic United States tour. Just to give you an idea of what's coming up, I've got people like Pennsylvania Pimp. I got D-Rail and D-Win on video. I've got a whole thing I did over at Fat Boy. I was there for a week. I went everywhere. I got to meet so many different people. Some of the things that I wanted to interview and video, those didn't work out, but we're not going to focus on that. We're going to focus on what we did get. So a big thanks and a big shout out to 12 around the valley. He came to me a year ago and says, what do we got to do to get more content like this? And I said, well, 12, as you know, working in Hollywood, it just takes time and money. Well, I'm not going to lie. When I went to go fire off on this trip, I said, here's your opportunity. And he stepped in and he said, brother, whatever you need. So first, thanks to all of you guys. Second, let's thank all the guys in the Patreon group. And third, these guys here. Let's thank 12 around the valley. Gentlemen, Tom, Maco.
Everybody's, you know, out there talking, and everybody's buying equipment. They're buying amplifiers. They're buying.
Everybody's upgrading.
Yeah, they're buying everything. They're buying antennas.
Everything that we sell here is shipped the same day.
Yeah.
Tell Luke about how many towers you sold yesterday.
7.
Yesterday alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't believe how many towers you got out back. I was like,
What?
wow. I couldn't believe how many towers you got out back.
That ain't nothing. I've had 1,000 sections.
I had no idea.
He buys them. He buys.
I got 300 sections due in here this week. The next week.
So what do you go through? How many sections, like, let's say row 25, do you go
whatever
through?
whatever they want, we sell. We sell Universal Tower too.
How many go? What's the most popular? 25.
25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many sections do you go through a month?
I had 1,000. I'm scared I'm going to run out before this next trailer load gets here.
Isn't that something?
Wow.
These people are buying stuff. I can't believe it.
But see, we've got a lot. We've got ways that we do this stuff that we're able to sell it. I'm not going to tell you how.
No.
Right.
But because it's just because other people could do it. But I show you, we sell Universal Tower too.
Right.
You know what that is?
Yes, I do.
I got a trailer load of that coming, and I got about a half a warehouse full. And all my aluminum's over in another warehouse. I'll show all that to you. I'll start down through. We could talk here forever. And we'll
So
never get
this is
done.
the building when you bought it. And what? How long ago was it when you got the building? This building that we're in.
73.
1973.
No, 77.
77.
I wasn't even
This
sperm.
one here.
Yeah, it didn't look like this. And,
No.
you know, this
So
is,
how did it was Charles Communication? Was it Charles?
in
What was it called?
1966, a guy by the Bill Biggs in Utica, Illinois, designed the Gizmochi antenna. And he was one of my dad's best friends. And he made linear amplifiers. You ever remember the little Context linear amplifiers back in the 50s and 60s and 50s, mobile and base? He was the guy who invented them. Well, he
What was the
couldn't
name?
make it- What?
What was the name?
Bill Biggs.
No, the amplifier type.
What?
The amplifier
Oh,
type.
everybody made him after. Well, his name was Context.
Context
There's all
amps.
kinds of names.
I think they were like the little.
They're about
little Chris.
Okay.
Little Chris amps.
they're about
Sweep
this
tube.
big,
Yeah.
Yep.
and you know, and they were 50 watts, and that's what everybody was buying.
Yeah.
And in the year he couldn't make it, so my dad bought it, and then he had a tool and die maker in Chicago make it for, because I was still young. He had a guy in tool and die maker in Chicago, and he wasn't putting all the parts in there, and so I just went through a tool and die apprenticeship and got out of the Army. And he says, "Hell, I'll make them." So I started making them in the garage, and then we had a semi-load. We had 27 pallet loads of aluminum coming sitting in my front yard in a residential district with no forklift. So then I stored them under the bowling alley, and then, you know, kept going down to get them. And then in the summertime, the bowling alley, all this oil leaked through and got on them, so we had to get that. And I said, hell, I can afford to go buy a building rather than lose all this, you know.
Right.
So the aluminum we buy, well, you're going to see how much aluminum we buy. I'm going to show it to you. We'll start through here. I'll just show you some of the stuff everything that we make is packaged. It's got package lists. We weigh everything.
You go first.
Everything is put there, it's weighed. And you'll see where the packages are. And if that thing is off a nut or a bolt, they tear the package open and find out what it is.
Really?
We weigh every one.
No kidding.
Everyone.
It's that precise.
Yeah, we're that precise. Wow. We don't get many
These
people.
are all your fasteners for all the antennas.
I don't make the fasteners.
No.
Yeah.
But this is everything for all the components, like your.
Those are 102 whip
There's a
extenders
lot
up
of it.
there.
Most of it's in the warehouse, okay? Most of it's in the warehouse. This is, when we need it, we just go out and get it, you know. Like, I buy the U-bolts thousands at a time, but, you know, we make this stuff here. Clarence is making this stuff right now. That's clamps, and
Making all the.
then we're V5.8s, and we make Corona balls. No, that ain't, where the hell are they?
Yeah.
There's some big ones.
No, we make that stuff. I got 20,000 of these. I got dies to do it. When we bought out Maco, Wilson sold out to Maco, to Majestic Communications in 1973, I think. And they called it Maco because it was Majestic Communications. Okay.
Look at these little tiny things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he
Little nuts.
he kept that thing till he was 78 years old from the 70s, and I bought him out. I went down there and you know, he just let it run down and he didn't really care what went on. I told my wife, you know, everybody had looked at it. Copper, everybody had been there. And R&R from Delaware called me up. And I said, Russ,
Rolling radio out there?
he said it was for sale. I said, hell, I'm retired, man, from Honeywell and Newell and all that. I don't want that. And he said, I thought it'd be a good match. So I told my wife, I said, you know, this could be a damn scam, man. Everybody's been there. We'll go. And I'll sit down and talk to the owner. And as we showing me around, you sit down and talk to the first employee you come to. And talk to him. Because that'll give you a good feel of what's going on. And he talked to Melvin, the first one she did. He was the youngest employee. He'd been there 31 years. Wow. And I bought from Dick, you know, and we got kind of we just hit it off. We're about the two same kind of guys, you know. He's dead now. You know, I talked to him just about a week before he died because we become pretty good friends, yeah. And we got the same personality. And you reminded me of his dad, so, you know. And
so you acquired the Wilson line then?
I got the Wilson line.
I did not know that.
Antennas. Like, what?
I always thought that was owned by like Barjan or something like that.
No.
Like Wilson antennas? You're talking Wilson antennas, right?
Wilson base antennas. That's
okay.
what Maco is.
Okay.
I got all the dies for all the amateur radio antennas, everything. I'll show it to you. I got the prints.
What antenna specialties? Who had that and how did they?
I don't know. I don't know.
That was a big thing in the 70s.
You know, I got enough. When I get straightened out now, our last year after Glenn Martin backed, I had Glenn Martin
for the hazers and
yeah,
stuff like
Right.
that.
and dealing with them guys, well, it's kind of tough. And we got a deal, you know, and he was kind of an engineer and he didn't really, not going to badmouth him. His dad was a smart guy. But we made a deal, 50 grand. I got the hazers and I got the rooftop towers. And he went down and he backed out on me. And he threw all the stuff in the trailer and still sitting there.
Really?
So now he's got people copying it. Yeah. He got people copying it. And you know, I had always figured on buying it. And right now, I wouldn't want it if they give it to me now because I don't have enough room. Yeah. You'll see that.
You have to open another warehouse.
Oh, I got a lot of warehouses. I won't take you down to the one the Corvettes are in because I got parts down there, and I'll take you to the other ones.
Sure.
Unless we like
Whatever.
Whatever. Unless you like Corvettes.
Oh yeah.
I know a guy.
I've seen them.
I'll sell you the building down there for $100,000.
How much are the cars inside?
If you want to buy the 2 Corvettes and the 5 motorcycles, it'll take you $350,000. No,
So how much of this is product that you guys order in or you actually manufacture yourself? This, because I'm sitting here, I'm looking at shelves of clamps and U-bolts and.
Okay, we don't make clamps. We make some of them clamps over there. We make this stuff here. You'd be silly to make nuts and bolts on U-bolts because they make them by the thousands. I buy them by the thousands.
Right.
Okay. You can't.
So you don't make the guy wire rings or any of the stuff that's over here then?
Now we're here. Come back. We make this stuff right in here. That's a different product there.
Right.
Okay. You know, we make all of this stuff here. We buy all our plastic caps and our hardware, and basically, this is set here because this is what goes in the hardware bags. Okay. This is, and you know, C13s. We make those, but you know, there's no way you can spend any money making clamps. You buy 1,000 of them, and I buy shit by the thousands.
These are cute little tiny Corona balls, and you got them. How big do they go to, your Corona balls?
We make them. We go as big as we want. We make stuff for NASA, the Army, Prince of Dubai, the Navy.
I didn't know that.
I made special antennas for the tank range in Pony Valley, California, on 5 meter.
Really?
They're running my beams, yeah. And for the Prince of Dubai, they're special. They're right down in 46 meg. I'm not going to tell you the story behind that if you're going to put this on YouTube, but
Yeah, that's fine. That's
maybe. This here, I've been working on 2 years. It's been done. The only thing I'm waiting for right now is to get the cost on it. I've got 2 of them out there. What's it going to cost? Well, you got to figure what it does. And I do the books. I order this stuff, and I just don't have enough time. So I'm working on this, and then I got sick, okay? And then I got a 6-meter balcony antenna, and then I got a different skip shooter over here. It's progress that we're working on that people keep asking for more, and I can't give them more. You know, I said I want to finish what I'm working on. So that's.
So tell us the specs of this antenna that you're working on here.
Well, I'd have to get the advertising. Okay. We don't even have it listed. I can show it to you.
When you start talking about it here, you're going to have it listed.
What?
I said, you start talking about it here, you're going to have it listed.
You want the spec? I got it.
No, I'm saying if you're talking about this on video, you're going to have this on your webpage because people will start calling the crap out of you for it.
Here's the trouble with the web pages, okay? They were through Yahoo. Yahoo had Yahoo web hosting. They sold out to Trulissa. They sold out to Verizon. You can't even get in there and do it. You can't get in here and change it. So the only place that we can change right now is Antenna Parts Outlet. So it'll be on there eventually. With the new place that took over, I think there's somebody that can do it. But you know, I need new stuff out. It's a matter of priority. What we got to do first. Priority is the stuff that's shipped here. You know that we want. People call. They might want stacking harnesses. Now we got some, but we might not have the right one or something. Maybe we just sold them. So the first priority is if we get something like to get it done. And people call and order Corona balls, and I give that to Joe because that keeps him busy and it keeps his mind working. He said being 83 years old. And they pretty well keep everything else running. And I'm doing, like right now, I'm working on taxes, quarterly taxes. I started last night, and you do it. And I'm only on the second one right now because I had 2 doctor's appointments today. So I have to get that done, and then you got to reconcile all the, I got a lot of checking accounts coming in from different ones, and then they have to go to say you got Shopify, Amazon, PayPal. Okay, the only way you can count the money accurately is you have a clearing account for each one. So if somebody orders something from PayPal, when we deposit it, it goes to PayPal clearing. And then from clearing, once it all gets in there once a month, we transfer it to our regular checking account. And then what's left was PayPal's, so you enter a PayPal vendor bill and take the rest out and give it to PayPal. You know, they've already got it.
Heaven help you if you have a chargeback or something, you're on the phone with PayPal for half the day trying to get that rectified. I quit using PayPal. They got too expensive for my...
Well, they're all expensive.
Not the processing fees, the amount of time you take spending working with them to try and get just the most basic thing.
I got a girl that's pretty good in there. She's been at it 14 years, and she's put these antennas together. Right. People call here, and they want to know about it. She tells them, well, say, well, let's talk to Tom. Well, what do you want? And she's put them all together, and she can tune them. And once in a while, I'll get somebody that she'll say, just a minute, I'll put Tom on, and it's just some oddball stuff, you know. And maybe they got it mounted on a tin roof, or the elements are different, or you know. I had a guy out in Washington bought a brand new Gizmodo antenna, and he put it up there and he dropped it. Bent everything all to hell. And this was just about the second day. I said, I'll tell you what, you pay the shipping, I'll give you a new one. And I did. I sent him a brand new one.
Well, I hate to jump. Let's start. We got to start all the way over so I can go and I can put this all together that makes sense.
Okay.
Let's start from the beginning. Where did you start? What was the first taste that wanted you to get into antennas? You started out as a radio operator?
Well, yeah, I did. I was in the hospital with that motorcycle wreck, and I had a linear and a CB radio up there. And then when I got out, then that guy quit making parts for my dad, so I started making them one part at a time, okay? And then until I got the whole antennas made, and that time I was buying aluminum from like Central Steel and Wire, a distributor, you know, just ungodly high. Ungodly high. And then we got so big over there that, you know, I didn't know how to buy aluminum since, you know, I learned that since that we had to buy this building here. I was going to buy a house, and my apprenticeship instructor said you can only buy a building once in your lifetime that you want, but you can buy a house every day. And I took his advice. I bought the building. And it's worked out pretty good. You know, the roof leaked, and we fixed it up.
What year was that?
Well, that would have been 77.
Okay.
And we kept going. You know, me and my wife was making all the parts. You know, I'd be working till midnight, and we'd come down here at midnight and make parts for my dad because he was out. And we took them out to him, and he paid him so much a piece. Nobody even knew we were making them. Nobody had a clue. You know, they just thought it was him. And then he died. He had a stroke, and he died. And my dad was a farmer, okay, and a radio distributor. He made a lot of money, and he never advertised 10 cents in his life. His theory was that when they find you, they're going to be glad they found you. And he never spent nothing on advertising. You know, then you had Nescope come along and copied us, and they're out of business now. They were from Indiana. And then you had Jogun come along, copy us. They've been sold about 4 times, you know. And so then, as I kept making the parts, and then when my dad died, we sold all of his radios he had to Ken's Electronics up in Michigan. And I kept the parts for the Gizmochi antennas. And then I retired from Honeywell. And then we started making them, and then he called me about, Russ from R&R called me about making them, and Maco, and I went out there and bought it, and I come down here, and I didn't tell my wife I just bought it, then went home and told her. She said, oh, put my 401 in it. She said, are you crazy? I said, no, but we went down and bought it, and there we go ever since. I bought it, I paid him a third down. I paid him a third when I picked it up, and I paid him a third at the end of the year, December 31st or January 1st, depending on how my taxes worked out. That's how I did it. And we become good friends, and he treated me honest, and kind of I was reading something on the internet about him one day when I was looking at it. And one guy in there said, I finally found the most obnoxious guy in the world, and he owns Maco. That was Dick. He was just, you know, at his age, his wife died when he was young. They were in business 50 years. His wife died, and he was an electrical engineer, and he said, I'm the most luckiest guy in the world. I'm married to 2 wonderful women for 25 years. So his first wife died just when things were getting really good. And people say, I got somebody who want to meet you. She's a little bit younger. No, I don't want a wife. Well, he ended up meeting her, and he ended up marrying her. And she's younger than him, and he's dead now. And, you know, he said, best thing to happen. I've had 2 wonderful wives, you know, and that's the way it was. He said, it's just too bad the first one died because life was really getting good, you know. They were doing good. They were making linears, and you know, I could have had the linears. Well, when I bought it, really, I did get them, but I didn't pick them up. Had a lot of tubes done because I'm a tool and die maker. I make stuff with my hands.
Yeah.
I can fix some electrical stuff, use fix TVs, but I'm not like you. I don't know that stuff. I can hold 1/10,000th of an inch, but you put me on a skill saw back there cutting a board, I'm scared I'll cut my finger off. But it is, you know, I can make anything. I made stuff when I worked at Honeywell. I went to the moon and back. And so what we do here, it's kind of crude, you know, but it works. That's okay. But it works, you know. And the tolerances, you know, within 20,000, I can hold 1/10,000th of an inch. But here, if the tolerances are within 10,000ths on a slip fit or something, it's okay. And an element can be a 1/4 inch long or short because you're sliding it in.
Right.
And we buy all this stuff, right?
So what year was it that you hired your first employee that wasn't you or your wife or your dad?
2007.
Wow.
That's
it was-
wild.
What?
That's 20,
2007.
21, 22.
It's what?
Just 20-something years you guys did that. Just you, your dad, and your wife, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't a big money maker for him. I did it to help him out. He couldn't do it. Shit, I didn't care.
Well, then what was the first product?
It was a Gizmochi.
Okay, and then
Here, now when I bought Maco, I didn't know anything about Maco antennas, nothing. So the deal was that he had to put every Maco antenna, one in a box with the packing list, one of every antenna. And he brought it up here. I opened the first antenna and I got the packing list out. And I went down through it. Some stuff they had too much, some they didn't have enough. And they did every antenna, every Maco antenna that way. Well, I had somebody in Florida, one of my dealers now, that they wanted an M108, and I was still working on the 5s and the 6s. I said, I'm a long ways from a 108, you know. When I get there, I get there. But that's how we did it. We took each one apart and seen what was in the box and what was on the packing sheet. You know, they had little stars in there and other stuff. Ours isn't that way. If you look on the packing sheet, it's got the weight what that bag's got to be. It's got the weight what clearance has got to be.
Okay, so him and his dad started out with Gizmochi. Okay. So then Gizmochi started making a little bit of money, so then he came and he bought Maco out. And now he's talking about how you've come along now, and at this point, when did you buy Maco itself?
2007.
Okay. So then now you came in and you started looking at everything going out the door, starting to make packing lists and bring it into a more...
When you come in here,
Right.
we brought in with semi-loads and straight trucks. You could not walk from you to me without going around a barrel or over a box. They just brought it in here and dumped it. And we put shelves together and we started going through box by box.
Okay.
And we didn't even know what the pieces were, you know.
So you bought Maco and then they just brought everything here and just dumped it all on you.
I was down there when they loaded it, yeah.
So there was no real crossover where they were sitting there explaining to you what, they just brought it all and said, here you go, goodbye.
They showed me make the V58 and V5000 because that's got to be a precise way. The rest is just, you know, I had the dies, I
Right.
knew the length of the elements and the gammas, had samples. That was all easy. That was easy because that's what I do. So
Where was Maco located when they?
Memphis, Tennessee.
That's where it was.
Okay.
Memphis. So they brought everything here from Memphis
I had it,
and
yeah,
it hauled up here.
yeah.
Now at that time, was Maco still doing amplifiers? At that time,
Well,
did that
Pete
business?
was there, and there was a big test board, that was going to go with it, and I forgot all the tubes that was there. But I had a semi-load, I had a truckload, and my wife had a carload, and John Boy come in, and I said, just take it.
Right.
So that's what happened there.
I'm
Now
not,
that makes sense.
That's
What?
why I wanted to know.
Yep.
what?
When was the transition of Maco amplifiers? Where did that take a second? Where did it take the off ramp?
Right. So
Yeah.
you want to explain it?
No, I mean, as far as, so in 2007, when you acquired Maco, before that time, they were making the amplifier parts, correct? Sweep tubes?
Yeah.
And you didn't want no part of that.
Look, it wasn't my expertise.
Right.
And John Boy pretty much came in and took over the stockpile and pretty much just kind of
Took it away.
took it away, right? At that
Yeah,
time?
yeah, I don't know if he bought it from him or what, but
Whatever.
I thought I was getting it
Whatever.
all. Don't make any difference.
So
'cause
that-
I didn't want the damn thing.
That's where the
Right.
divide happened. You wanted
Yep.
antennas, and the amplifier went
Went over here and
there.
just went away. Just
That's-
needed to go away.
That's very interesting. I always wondered that. What happened to Maco the amplifiers?
They had an electrical engineer. Shut that off for a minute, will you? That's junk.
No, I'm looking at the view.
Doing the view. I told Luke when he came out this way, he's going to see some rolling hills. Once he
I
gets
tried
in
to
there.
buy that off from 25.
Over there?
The land, yeah.
The land?
Yeah. What happened here is we used to have the boxes out back and we're wasting time coming and going. So we put them in here and organized them. And these parts right here, we sell a lot of them. So instead of going out and getting them, if you open the door, they grab it, they put them in. Okay.
You use so much of it, you just grab it right off.
What?
You use so much of it, you just grab it right off the pallet.
Yeah, yeah. And we make our own pallets.
He's out here doing that.
Hey, Trent, you can go on over there if you want. Wait till we get there, though. Is my truck's around there?
Correct.
Okay. You take the UTV. They like driving that damn thing.
Do they? They like taking that.
If you think that's tower, that's nothing. Here's what worries me. If this is going to last until...
Who picks the tower up for you to ship it?
That's a secret.
That's a secret. Gotcha.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, we got some more back there. I guess I'm okay for a week. Okay. We make our own pallets because aluminum antenna boxes are 80 inches long. So if you put on a 48-inch pallet, they run in the front and they'll break it.
Sure.
Bend it to hell.
Sure.
So I just hope all that stuff makes it till next week. You see, I got trailers. You'll see them.
You used to have a little test station out here, a little test tower.
We still got it.
You
But
still
they got
do?
Chet, when he gets done on those, are going to do it.
Yeah.
Hey, Lyle, will you open door number? This is Lyle.
Hi, Lyle.
He-
I'm Paul.
This is Luke.
This is Luke.
Howdy.
Howdy.
He lived across the street and worked at Durr, and I said, if they ever need a job, come on over. And they closed, and he come over and said, I need a job.
There you go. How long you been here? 4 years?
They come and go. He's part-time. They come and go as they want. But here's the thing about a part-time. They get the same amount of money. Okay, if you work 40 hours, you get 12 days vacation. If you work 20 hours a week, you're going to get 20. I said that wrong. Yeah, you get 12 days if you work a year. At 40 hours, if you work 20 hours, you get half of that. You get 6. It's paid by the hour.
Sure, it's
the
secured.
computer.
It's secured.
And
the
it's
hours you work.
the same way with vacation. Say, like Jerry only works 2
Push-up
days.
poles.
So say the 4th of July
Roof
fell on
mounts.
Friday, he'd get screwed. I still pay him.
Wow.
That's nice.
Okay. We open it door number 3.
Yeah. Look at all the top pieces of the towers there. Wow. You added this since I've been here last.
This is
warehouse-
brand new.
I built this warehouse,
Yep,
yeah.
This is all new.
Yeah. So every morning, they get the orders and they come out here and back the Black Beauty in and they fill it full. If stuff is long and it's going to go in FedEx, we just load it in Black Beauty about 3 o'clock and then we take it right from the truck right into the FedEx. Okay. That stuff is, well, you can see what it is.
Look
It's
at
going to
this.
go this way.
No, look at this. This is like I remember a kid looking at this stuff in the catalogs going,
Oh yeah, here's your stands for your towers.
stands for your towers.
Yep.
These are your guide plates and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, right here. Look at this. And then he's got his push-up poles over here with some of the guys that can't have towers.
I
These here?
had no idea that he was a dealer
All these
for all
drone
this.
accessories.
Yeah.
I got a whole trailer load coming about 50 grand that's going to run
Oh
me.
Lord. Yeah, all this stuff, all the accessories.
Like there's rotor wire right there. See it?
What is the point behind the 90
What is the
degree?
deal with the 90-degree tower section?
What?
What is that for?
You mean the push-up poles?
No, the 90s.
The 90s. The 90 tower sections right up there, Tom.
Like round 25, 90 degrees.
La, 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 la.
I've never seen one of those.
M106, N105, N106, M105, asteroid to comet,
You know what?
V-quad.
SK. I just own the
What the
company.
heck are those for? I've never seen. Why would you need a
We have
the
every
base
part
plates.
Roan's got pert near.
unless you would have a piece go off and have another.
I've seen 2 towers hooked together with something going between them, And you got steps here that fit on some stuff too.
I've never seen a 90 like that.
And neither have I. That's why I was like, what in the world is that?
Ask her what it's used for. We sell them or there wouldn't be any up there.
Yep, all your plates here, your standing platforms.
Everything Roan sells for 25 and a lot for 45 and 55 we got. See, these are 55s here, see. They mark everything when it comes in because it's real easy to get it screwed up.
Yep.
Real easy.
Everything's sitting here on the antennas.
We first started selling tower. A guy ordered 45 tower. And we didn't keep it separate like we did now. We sent him 3 45s and a 55. And the 55 wouldn't fit. And he called up and we says, basically, you're fucking crazy, man. It's got to fit. And come to find out, there were 2 different size towers. He made it fit. I called the guy up. I said, I'll give you a brand new tower if you want it. Up there, okay.
Yeah.
And this here is where my wife works. This is just overrun of stuff. My wife is in Norway, okay. She pays the bills, but this is rig expert here. I got 30 more I just got to pay for today. That's coming.
I didn't know you were into that too.
Oh yeah, I'm probably one of the.
Wall through passcodes?
Everybody backed out when they started getting in the war. I kept buying.
Yep.
I'm one of their.
You kept buying. You gotta have the
And the good ones, not the cheap Chinesium ones.
Yeah. Well, we don't. I had Amphenol in here. I said I want an American-made connector. He said, I got news for you. They're all made in Mexico. I said, well, I guess I just don't want you.
Wow.
I didn't. So.
I didn't know you did rotor wire too.
Okay.
Yep, that's where I got my.
When I buy rotor wire, I buy 200,000 feet at a time.
Okay.
Now this is 3-wire because this I can only get 3-wire rotor wire. I mean, I got all other types of wire, but I can only get a 3-wire rotor because you can blot this out. You want to shut that off. I got new antennas in there that's designed and made. I just have to do the paperwork, and it takes so long to do it. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, we sell rotor wires, cut the length. Well, you got coax there. We sell all types of coax. We put the ends on. Clarence does that. Whatever somebody wants, we do. Okay? I've got rings that make this big with pin, all kinds of stuff. Okay?
I think the problem is
This
nobody
here's
knows the
ABR.
color.
Here's my big. Maco used to make watt meters, and there's my big linear I tested them with.
What's in it? What's the tube that's in it?
It'll put out about 8,000 watts. Here's the thing. I make antennas. I don't make linears. Okay, so you say what size tubes are, you might as well be talking to Santa Claus. Okay.
I believe now that you told me this is back years ago. That was made from. Was it a friend of yours that you knew was in Iowa? Was it Iowa or around this
in
area?
Missouri.
Missouri.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was. And it's a good linear. He was a dealer. He had 2 kids that are extremely handicapped. And he was trying to make a living. And he couldn't quite make it for insurance. So he quit there and got a job managing a big farm, so he had insurance for his family. Because them handicapped kids he's going to have to raise till they die. You know,
Sure.
Right.
They can't talk or anything. But it's a good linear. And
You've had it for
I'm going
years.
to take it down and put it in my basement. Well,
Sound familiar to you, Paul?
I got a Kenwood TS 2000. I got an extra class amateur working back here, and I had another one. And the other one that quit when the COVID come. He got scared and quit.
Right.
He had 2 programs on there, and he could take an antenna and model it 10,000 times in a day with a program. And he's still got stuff in there that we're still trying to put out. And I've quit taking, people want to make stuff, but I had to quit because we couldn't keep up. You know, I got
Right.
a
Custom
4-element
stuff. Super custom stuff.
What?
Super
and
custom, yeah.
People come up and say, well, if I want to buy 50, I said, you know, I can't make enough money at 50 to make something special. We make stuff for the masses.
Right.
Okay. The little guy that's talking, the big guy, if they call, we'll help them. We'll sell them stuff. We'll do whatever they want. But we make it for the masses, and I can't just, are we going to do hairpin? Probably, but hell, when do we get time? I got a guy down in, I got a 4-element V-quad design. Okay, our 3-element, we're just selling the hell out of things. The 4-element is designed and they're using it in New Zealand right now. The Woodman down there's got
The
it.
Woodsman's got one, yeah.
He's got one.
Yeah.
And that's the test one. He's testing it. So one of these days I'll get around to making it. But when you get the prints, I got the prints made, but when you start getting the stuff setting down right and how it goes together, it's got to be perfect, because no matter how perfect you make it, somebody's going to call you up in 5 years and say, hey, I found a mistake. So what I do, I take a new antenna, and I take a guy that's never put an antenna before.
To figure it
I
out.
say, here it is, put it together. If you can't put together these instructions, then there's got something the matter, and then we go back and fix it. So that's how we do those.
That's good.
But I said there's a lot of seed money in there already, so it's
So, okay, how many products right now are you currently supporting? Antennas.
How
Just
many?
just antennas. We're not talking tower parts,
I don't
rotor
even
cable.
No,
Just,
it's like a shirt I got that says, if you know how many guns you got without counting them. No, if you know how many guns you got without counting them, you don't have enough. So I don't. That's not good in your video here, but I don't know how many. I'd have to count them.
and a lot of people don't know the fact that you guys make a lot of ham antennas, a lot
Yeah.
of
And we make-
amateur radio antennas.
And I make a lot of special parts.
yeah.
I make stuff for moonrakers, or if my aluminum match it, we'll make it. We'll make it.
The hubs for the Moonraker that always broke, you make those?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you have the cast hubs. So like if people.
I had a bunch of them. I got rid of them. I tried to get hold of Ivani, the guy that owned it, and he died about 2 years ago. I wrote him a letter. He never answered me, and then he died. He was in from by Chicago. So
It's
I run
amazing
into-
the density of innovation in radio. It's
Right
in this,
here.
in this area. Yeah.
Right here in this area, within
Yeah.
I'd say within a 100 to 200 mile radius of us right here in Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, was the CB metropolis of technology and antennas back in the day. It all came from this area, all from this area.
most of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of it.
Yeah.
Where was Robin Radio? Were they from Michigan, weren't they?
Robin,
No.
I believe, was from up north. Yes, Michigan,
My dad was one of their biggest distributors.
and they made good radios.
You know what name? This is off the subject a little bit, but you know how it got named Robin Radio?
No,
Because he had a daughter that died. Her name was Robin.
Oh.
Robin Radio.
there's some history.
And why we're telling stories? You know how a Predator 10K, little sweetie, got his name?
No,
KO, with his own Predator 10K, he's got a cat called Little Sweetie. And Little Sweetie goes out to the garage with him every morning at 4 o'clock and sits there in the chair. And he always wonders, he says, I just wonder what Little Sweetie is thinking. So he named that antenna Little Sweetie after his cat. That's,
unreal.
yeah.
So going in 2007 is when you purchased Maco, and you start establishing this right here,
Yep.
where we're at, and then things grew from there.
Yeah, my first antenna, I packaged in front of the bathroom on a piece of 4x8 plywood and 2 sawhorses. And I'm sitting in here one day, and an amateur radio guy that just was a friend of mine, and I got an order from A1 that it had 200 V58s on it. And I says, now what the hell am I going to do? He said, looks to me like you better learn how to make antennas.
We'll figure it out. I want to go into business on my own. I'll figure it out.
What did you do before? How did you come out with the technology of computer programming and
Yeah, when did
figuring the
you
antennas?
guys do the modeling?
Yeah.
When did the modeling come into the equation? Because
And
you did not do the original design for the M107
No,
65.
no.
So okay, so you guys have modeled that since then, right?
yeah, it NZAC, and then we got another model in there that'll sit there and that guy's gone. That found that one, and Chet's going to come up here, and he's going to learn how to do all this as soon as he's done back there. He's smart enough. I model a lot of antennas, like a Super Maco 8, a lot of stuff, and I give stuff out there. I've got a M105. I think there's 5 of them out there I've made. I've given them specs and they work. But the easiest way is give somebody a spec, or if he's going to make an antenna, make it and give it to him and say, if it works, it's mine. And I did that a lot of times. And I never discouraged somebody from making something special. They call here, and they're the weirdest ideas you ever heard of. But I says, you know, that could work. And if you want something to make it, I'll give it to you. But if it works, you let me know.
Most places are not open for that at all.
No, and there's
Not at
guys
all.
there's guys out there. Mentioned some people on the air that we talked to are just geniuses when it comes to making an antenna.
Genius. Like they'll sit there and they'll spend months on one antenna in the modeling program,
Yeah.
trying to figure out how to tweak it either for the most forward
80
back, front to front
80
ratio.
foot long, 80-foot long booms, and you know some of the stuff is incredible.
I'm on a 59-foot long antenna myself. One of my friends, he's running an 80-foot antenna, and it's. I mean, we're talking frequency specific type of you know,
Yeah, made for one channel.
one channel.
Do you tell people how long your antenna is?
Yeah.
Do you care if people copy your antenna?
You want to drive over and take pictures? Have at it, or look
Yeah.
at it on Google Earth. Have at it.
Everybody asks.
Here's-
I got in this
I'm gonna
conversation.
tell-
Go ahead,
I'm
Tom.
going to tell you. Because people say, how long is this antenna? Somebody takes a picture of your antenna from the side, and they bring it in here, and they say it's a 70-foot antenna. You put that on the computer, and don't laugh. You take a 12-inch tape, 12-inch ruler up there, and you count the 60, and you do ratio and proportion. You can figure out the spacing of every one of them damn elements. And I've
Or
did
you can
it.
just get on Google Earth and go click, click, and it says it's this long down to the half an inch.
It does that too. Yeah, it's
That's why I'm just like,
yeah. It's
It-
once it's
yeah.
in the open, it's free reign.
Yeah.
When it's out in the public, it's free reign.
Yeah,
for
I've
people
had,
to-
you know, I sold that, we come out with the VQ3, took it to Florida. No,
oh, look at it rain.
Is it rain, huh?
took it to
As long as it don't hail.
New Orleans. And I
Oh,
got
yeah,
back
that's
from
a problem for you guys out here, isn't it?
I got back from New Orleans and I get a phone call the next day from New York. Guy said, I just bought a new VQ3 antenna and it don't have the instructions. Can I get the instructions? Hell, I hadn't even sold the antenna yet. They
He
were
was
all,
trying to steal the idea.
yeah, so we didn't, that's why it's not on the website right now. We've started putting some of it on, but yeah, so people trying to, like the guy down
Blows
in,
me away how skeevy some people are.
Yeah.
It,
and you know,
oh my God.
I got two phone calls from different numbers right there together because I got them in there. Now the guy down in New Zealand, the one to do it to a 4, I sent him the specs because he can't afford to send all that. He bought the hubs from me, and I sent it to him, and he's running it.
We know that gentleman. I've talked to him on the air.
I know
Yeah,
him
that's
too.
what he's
We
using.
both know him.
That's what he's using,
Yep.
and we're gonna start selling it pretty soon. I've got all the specs. I've got everything. Got the prints
There's
done.
one interesting story I want to bring up with Tom here and everybody, that how deep much Tom is for customer service and how he gets involved with things. There was a friend of mine that doesn't live far from here in Rockford, and he has a M108, and he was having some issues tuning it. So he got a bucket truck. Tom came over, brought donuts on a Saturday morning. Remember that, Tom?
Yeah, I remember.
Came up there to Bob's house. He sat down in Bob's radio room while I was in the bucket truck, and Bob was telling me, move it there, or Tom was saying, move it there, move it here. We're going to slide this element in and out. And he spent half of that Saturday, and we tuned that M108. Me
What
in a
did he
bucket
get-
truck and Tom
What did
downstairs.
he get? 5 watts reflect or something?
5 watts reflect with what? It was, I think, at that time Bob was running.
You got 5 watts of reflect with only 5 going out.
Yeah, we'll just say 5 watts going out.
Oh,
We'll
yeah,
say
it's only
that. We're going to say that for the record. But anyway,
Yeah.
Tom came over, and what an experience to have somebody as Tom's caliber, the owner of the antenna,
Right.
that was in the air, an M108, stretched out a little bit, and Tom spent the time to come over, and it was just the fellowshipping and the knowledge of spending the time with him. That's just something
I mean,
that's...
for legal reasons, what we're joking. Like,
When
so
peop-
we'll pull a hypothetical number out of the air, you guys. What he did is he probably was putting, I don't know, 10,000 watts in it. It was getting 5 watts worth of reflect.
Yes, sir.
But for legal reasons, we're going to say he's
Yes.
putting 5 in and getting 5 back because
Yes.
the FCC says that no.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
But it was cool to experience that with Tom, and I can tell that story.
one of
And
them
not
great
many
life
people,
experiences
not
that-
many
yeah.
people can tell that story. that the owner of the antenna company came and
I had a guy call from Tennessee, and I was going to South Carolina, and he couldn't tune this V58. He's having a hell of a time. And I said, where are you at? And he told me. I thought, shit, it's only about 50 miles from where I was going by. I said, I'll be there tomorrow morning, and I'll tune it for you. And he called me back that night, and he says, I got it tuned. You don't have to come. He said, I'd be glad though you stop and meet you. I says, I might want to meet you, but I don't want to meet you bad enough to come in after the antenna's all working.
right. Sure.
But that's...
Yeah, I mean that's customer service, and so we went forward a little bit, and I'm sure that everybody wants to know. So from that point on, you started modeling the antennas and making them. How much demand has grown? How much has it grown in the hobby? How many has your business grown? I mean the antennas, it's grown quite a bit,
Look
hasn't
at his
it?
face.
You're
Look at his
smiling.
face. Go ahead.
How much has it grown? What's the percentage? Just give a rough percentage from when you started, say in 2007, when you acquired Maco, till 2023.
Shut it off.
Oh, come on. Okay.
This is when they're ready to go. Clarence puts everything in, and he comes up here, and these are the hardware pack. He don't have to do any of it.
It's already preset.
Yeah, and these are like the hubs that we make here. See, we make all them. We got the jigs and fixtures. We make the 3-element. We make them all. The tubing. In a year, we have the borings on aluminum. You can't sell them with the regular aluminum. So at the end of the year, we have 1 barrel of aluminum scrap, and I have 1 barrel of borings. That's all I got for scrap.
That's it. You utilize every piece.
Almost no loss.
Yeah, no loss.
Yeah, it's all. We swedge it. This is just stuff in progress. That's how we slid it though. Clarence's. That thing is old, but by God,
Old is good.
it works.
I'm a big fan of old.
There's stops set in there and everything, and we
you
changed
just
the
take the
Imagine how many pieces of aluminum is sliced.
Just take the tubing and slide it right in here, and
Boom, you're
yeah,
done.
and there's stops.
Yeah, you're done. Done.
Yeah, you sit here and just dip it in, zoom, zoom.
it's the bucket of jizz.
What?
Yep.
It's the bucket of jizz.
Yeah, it's special juice.
Special jizz.
Yeah.
Brother, I am horrible with names. What did you say your name? Clarence.
Clarence.
And Clarence here, you're a YouTube fan, yes?
Oh, yes.
It's a pleasure to meet you, sir.
Hey, Clarence. Clarence.
I'm also subscribed to you, too.
Hey,
Thank you.
Swedge one.
Okay.
That's
Excuse me,
Celine.
sir.
She's
Hi, Celine.
she's,
Nice to meet you.
Jack of all trades. She
Master
usually
of
packs.
all of them.
The guy was Jeff here today.
Yeah, he left it.
He goes. I got one guy retired and he left at noon. He must have more money than I got. You see when we put it into this place, how we had to make it so we could cut the aluminum and go here. I mean, it had a hell of a time getting this stuff in here.
You ready?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Right. Wow.
He ain't seen nothing yet. Wait till he goes to the warehouse.
Awesome.
And yeah, I got a warehouse full of aluminum across town. If he's got time.
Oh, yes. Yes. That's amazing.
Okay, we're gonna go back up here and we can change different size dies. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
We'll go back up here a ways. Trent's drilling.
Making some helps here.
Hand me.
Well, this looks familiar. I know what you guys are building.
You're jumping ahead of me here.
He's jumping ahead, yeah. Let's come
Let me get the hell back up here.
We'll come back to that. We'll come back to that.
The pecking order here,
So he's
goddammit.
drilling hubs here.
These are Gizmochi hubs here for 3 pins.
You sell quite a
No, these are V-quads. Okay, these here, when I bought this, these were made in Alabama or someplace. And I owned the mold. And I was going down and have another made, and the guy died. There was another company there that says, we're taking it, we'll make it for you. I sent him a letter. A month later, I ordered some. Can't find my die. We'll make you a new one for $35,000.
Oh, Lord.
And I told them,
Yeah, they magically found your die and went,
no.
yeah, we'll
Yeah.
make you a new one. Throw it away, you know.
We started buying aluminum and cutting it off and drilling the holes and putting the pins in. Now I've had another die made in Chicago for $25,000. It's sitting right back here. And now we got these we're doing for $5 a piece now. So, but now when we take dies out of here and molds, when we go pick the stuff up, they come back. I tell my driver, he's not here, if you don't bring it back, you're going back to get it. That's Trent. He's
Hi, Trent.
going
Mr.
to college.
Trent.
He's from Byron.
Is he
What'd you
really?
go into
He lives
school
right-
for, Trent?
Lives up there by Jordan.
Oh, you live by
Wildlife Safety College?
Wildlife ecology.
Okay. Wildlife Ecology.
Yeah, he lives right up by
Jordan?
Jordan.
I live in Oregon. Yep, so you're in Byron. Yeah, you're close by.
I'm from Idaho.
He's in Idaho.
Boise, capital city. Yep. That's way north. Yeah.
So when he's done with this will be on YouTube, Trent. And then
Here's-
he's got
Here's how these
got,
things work.
the largest, one of the largest radio YouTube channels.
We make all, Joe's 83 years old.
This is where this will be.
Which Joe?
Yeah.
He works 3 hours a
yeah,
day.
BBI, right
And
here.
I think
It's called BBI,
he
and that's Luke is his name.
doesn't have something to do. I don't know how long he's gonna last. It's getting tougher, but
Which Joe? One of your which Joe? One of your employees, Joe?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
okay.
83. And when it snows, we go get him and bring him his ice
Yeah.
and take him back and forth.
He's
Just-
the largest amp
and I always
repairer
give him
in the
set
world.
down
CD
jobs.
amplifier repairer
Okay.
and ham radio
But he
amplifier.
makes
He's the
these
largest
jigs and
repairer.
fixtures for me, and that's worth a lot.
So he wanted to come and interview
That's
Tom
worth
and
a
see the
lot.
shop.
That's sweet that you go get him and bring him in and keep him working.
What?
It keeps him alive. That's what's keeping him
Oh,
alive.
he said, I don't know what, and you know, he's really sick, and he probably should be in a nursing home, but I'm not gonna fire him.
If you didn't let him come in here, he would die within a
He's
month.
gonna have to die or quit.
Yeah, it's good. That's honorable of you.
His kids are down here, and the one's physician's assistant, so.
So what's here? Looks like this is your
Here's
press.
where we bore all the hubs and everything, we make them. That's all. And this here is just where we work. It's kind of accumulate stuff that's set there. It's work in progress, okay? That's all that is. Here's a Gizmochi. Everything's duplicated.
Do you sell quite a few Gizmochis then?
Yeah. I could sell more. My dad never advertised.
This is the hub
See, that's
masterpiece.
just it.
Wait till I get that 2-incher out.
Luke and I were talking. There's a lot of people that really don't know
I got.
what you have. I mean, everything you can.
And nobody knows to call you. That's
What?
the other thing. No one knows to call you to get these products that you're talking about.
I got hubs made for a 3-inch.
We'll just
Okay,
say,
we'll go with that.
Go
The
ahead.
camera's running again. So
I,
let's,
I,
okay.
I just.
Let's just say hypothetically that your first year in 2007, you did, let's say, 20,000 antennas. Fast forward to today, are you 50 or 100% more than that?
The first year here, my accountant says you're buying an antiquated product, and I sold 200,000. She said that's pretty good for an antiquated product. And now we're 20 times that big,
yep.
at
See,
least.
that's what I was looking for is how much has this hobby grown and how much is the
20
demand?
times.
Yeah, for your product.
But the thing is, when
He's diversified though a lot.
Oh.
Since you came in 2007, you were supporting what? Like maybe 15 different products, right?
Just what I could make myself.
Yeah.
Right. So now you've got so many things. I've seen more stuff here. I don't know how you keep it all straight. You got more products than you can even count that you're sending out the door, keeping the hobby going.
Towers, rig experts, antenna wire, coax, ends, parts, pieces. I mean, it goes on and on.
I got people asking me to make stuff all the time, you know.
So
I just
you're not only doing Maco and Gizmochi, but now you're supporting Moonraker, helping people with Moonraker parts.
and
What other antenna lines are you trying to help keep supported alive?
all these guys got these old Wilson antennas, and they call up, and I've got all the prints in there, and they want to know what a dimension is, and I'll actually open the book, and I might spend a half hour going down and looking to see if I can find it, because Kay's answering the phone,
Right.
and a lot of times I can come up with the answer what they
They're,
want.
they're looking for the specs on the antenna.
Yeah, I had a guy call me up, and we won 20,000 watt gamma on a 20-meter antenna. And you know how amateur radio guys are. Are you an amateur radio guy?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Both of us.
Some of them get
I
kind
got my
of.
license when I was 12.
I've got a license. Some of them get kind of.
They're very
They're different.
Let's just say they're anal.
Yeah.
How's
and,
that?
and I says, wait a minute now.
wrong word, but
I,
it could
and
be.
I never say it, but I said, no, wait a minute now. You're an amateur radio guy. It's 2,000 watts. He says, oh, hell, we all run 20,000 watts up on 20 meters.
80 meters.
He said,
No,
"I'll
the greatest joke ever told in amateur radio is legal limit plus a zero.
Yeah, add a zero.
Add a zero.
Is that-
or a couple zeros.
Is that tape too bad for you?
No, no,
Okay.
You're doing business.
I
You know,
s-
there's people. We're in the middle
I
of the
can
day,
stop.
in the
You're
middle of the
making money.
week. You're making money.
Making
Well, I'm not
money.
going to come in and say, "Hey, stop making money just so we can do a little YouTube video." That's
Yeah,
silly.
yeah.
No, that's part
But
of.
we buy in quantity. You know, when COVID started, I couldn't get aluminum, and I ordered a lot of aluminum. I ordered a lot.
Man, in the last 2 years, we've had to struggle with transistor shortages,
Mm.
copper shortages, wire shortage,
chip.
Now see,
ferrite. Oh my lord,
see-
ferrite was a nightmare. We couldn't do any. I couldn't do anything for about 6 months
see
because
that's
of ferrite.
that's something I don't deal with. See, I'm in my own little
But
world here.
aluminum. Think about heatsink.
Yeah.
Trying to get extruded heatsink that everybody's used to using, or phenolic copper cladded board, or the shortages have been a pain in the ass.
The aluminum is getting better, but I had aluminum when nobody had it.
It's because you had stock.
Yeah, I believe in if a little's good, a lot's better.
Right.
I've got 3 trailer loads of Roan Tower ordered right now. I got a trailer load of Universal Tower.
It's like, okay, the way we're shooting this is a little out of order. They're going to see here coming up, your tower sections are sitting out back. So you've got what, about a half a semi-truckload sitting out there right now? Between what's down the side of the building and what's sitting on the ground? And you're worried it's not going to make it till next week.
That's probably 3/4 of a load, maybe, I don't know,
And you sell that every month or every other week?
every day.
No,
It-
how many truckloads do you sell out of here?
Oh, I can't tell you, I'd have to count.
It's too many.
See, that's something there that I've got it figured out how to get it here. I've got it figured out how to sell it. And Roan, if you call Roan to buy something, they'll give you our number,
Right. I've experienced that, I know. Yeah.
and we'll have it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
That's just good business.
I hope we got enough to make it. It's due next week, I think. The first trailer load.
And it's Wednesday, it's the middle of this week.
And speaking of the tower sales, just in yesterday you made a comment. You sold 7 towers in one day. 7 complete towers in one day.
And what do you consider a complete tower? Base, middle unit, and then the top section with
Whatever
the
they
tilt plate?
whatever they want. Some
So it
people
could range from 20 to 60 to 80 feet. It could
it
range.
might be at
whatever.
30 feet, it might be anything, yeah.
But 7 of them units in a day.
Every day.
Now that might have been through not every day. Today there might only be 2 or 3. You never know.
But that shows the hobby and
It's a hobby, but a lot of these guys are tired of this dish TV, and they're buying it for Wi-Fi, and that's where this Universal is. It's light. You can push it up. It don't need to be guided. You don't sell near as much, but
I don't know, I'm just
I'm
afraid of aluminum. for a lot of different
I'm
reasons.
afraid of, yeah, there's a lot of reasons. We won't go into them, but it does have its purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the only guy that you can order it today. You can call and we'll ship it today. Well, right now we'd ship it tomorrow.
Isn't that
Everybody
something?
else they'll take your check or your credit card,
And wait.
and you got to wait.
Yeah.
And the companies that we buy from, they like us.
What-
And shut that off again.
What, out of all your antennas, Gizmochi, the Maco, the beams, the MO, the 103s, the
You want
Wilsons.
Wilson, or you part? Explain Wilson to everybody in YouTube
Yeah.
land.
Explain Wilson. All the old timers know Wilson.
Right.
It's a Wilson amateur radio. They made amateur and mobile antennas for the semi. They had a big warehouse out in Arizona, and I got a picture of it. It had about 50 doors on it with semis backed up there, loading up these things. And they just didn't want to mess with base antennas, so they sold it. And Dick got down there, and he got in, which is a previous owner, Maco, and he wanted to make citizens band and not amateur, because you got to wind traps, and really I sell trap kits so they can wind their own. And they say, well, I don't know how to make a wire. So, you just wind the wire up. You screw it up, I'll send you more, no problem. So they wind their own traps, and they have a great time, and I don't have to do it because it's a pain.
Pain in the butt.
And yeah,
So Wilson came along with the Maco purchase.
yeah, Maco
Okay.
bought them.
Pretty
And
much.
Majestic Communications, Maco for short, and away it went,
Out of all your antennas that you make, Gizmochi, the beams, the ground plane, what would you say is the most popular antenna you sell?
V58 and V5000.
Those are your most popular antennas,
I sell them things.
like hotcakes. What out of the beams? From
104
103
or
to
107.
yeah, those are your popular.
Here's the thing: when a guy calls, I get on the phone and ask him, "What are you going to put it on? You going to put it on a push-up pole, or you going to put it on a tower? Where's it going to be?" And the guy wants it in 108, and he wants to put it on a push-up pole above his trailer or something. No. So I try to sort it out and give him the best advice I can. And I'm saying, I'm not going to lead you astray. I'm going to tell you what I know. I started putting up towers when I was like 20 years old. Towers and TV antennas when all this was.
You climbed the tower yourself?
Yeah.
You did all that?
Yeah, I did all that when I was starting out. And we sold TV antennas in Freeport when I lived up there. Then we moved down here in the sticks. And so, yeah, pretty well did it all. I don't climb anymore.
It's not.
I'm
fun.
not scared of climbing. It's just that sudden stop when you evolve.
Yeah.
Exactly. I built power lines and cell tower networks and TV systems. And
I had a guy call up here one day, said he
I'm
dropped.
just too old now. I don't care. I don't want to do it anymore.
He said he dropped his mass pipe on his V5000 on the power line. Jesus.
What?
Well, that's the reason they have
Yeah.
to have a disclaimer sticker
Yeah,
on it.
every
right?
sticker on everything.
Yeah.
So if you ever watch the interview with Firestick, they go into the whole. They made base antennas for a little while, and then the reason that the Shakespeare, Amtron, that kind of thing, all really came into its own was because of a huge lawsuit that took place over aluminized antennas, and I'm sure you're familiar with
Like
it.
5 people were killed.
Yeah.
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 But reason you can sell Maco, because that was for 11 meters only.
Right.
We're from 26 up to 33.
Right.
And I've even had them things up to 48 meg for the Prince of Dubai. And I think we've used them, got one out there for 6 meter too that Chet keeps wanting to sell. And I said, just a minute, man. I can make money selling skip shooters, but 6 meter, there's just not enough call right now. There is probably, but you got to stay where the money is,
Yeah, you gotta stay focused.
Yeah.
Stay
6 meter
focused.
band's hot. It's really busy, but it's nothing like.
No, not like what it is right now with the 11 meters. And right now the business with our skip cycle, like we were talking earlier, is booming right now. We're on this cycle that's going to last for several years. People are buying. People are building up. They're getting bigger. They're moving. They're setting new stations up.
The thing is,
Yeah.
is the line in the sand has changed. If you've
Oh.
noticed in the last 10 years, like the 10. If you buy a 20,000 watt gamma, I tell people to rate that for 10, because it's only rated for 20 when it's brand new. So you put it up there in the rain for a couple of years and the sunlight beating on it. Eventually,
Deteriorates.
Teflon's going to start breaking. Just if it's 20, say 10. But now the line in the sand where the guy is on, let's say on 5,000 watts, been on 5,000 watts for 20 years. Everybody around him is now running 15, 20,000 watts. So the line in the sand now is at the 15 to 20,000 watt range going forward. I mean, we're going to go to a little deal here in just a week where pretty much everybody there is around 80 to 100,000 watts at this little club. It's amazing. Everybody I know is on a pair of 15s, pair of 10s, pair of 20s. We're bigger.
The size of tube, the amplifier that
Yeah.
we're running.
Yeah, see, I'm not a tube expert,
Right. So
and I don't
line in
even
the
want
sand
to.
is the
I don't
amount of
even want to
power.
come. I don't even want to be one. People say I got this many and this many, and
right.
I don't even know what the hell they're talking about. I
The
told you
power, though, the power level is what I'm getting
I
at.
know.
So your
Yeah.
gamma match, the 2,000 watt gamma match,
they won't last long.
No,
They're
so-
good for guys talking with neighbors around town.
right.
Yeah.
What's
Or-
the biggest gamma match you make right now?
30. I could make as big as I wanted, but probably if we ever get caught up, maybe we'll start making hairpins or something. It's just a matter. I've
Or
made
vacuum
them.
feed points, yeah.
What?
I was going to talk to you about doing a vacuum feed point for some of these guys. I'd love to be able to just say, here, go buy this from them, and
Yeah.
that'll handle you.
What they're using is
50,000
using a vacuum tuner,
Yeah.
and they're using that for your gamma and
Yeah.
your
instead of
adjustable.
the slider capacitance.
There's gentlemen out there that I know that have motorized controllers that are adjusting the vacuum tuner on the tower from below to go to different frequencies. So
It only helps a little bit. And
just a little.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
got a little bit.
And they got step motors inside the element to drive the tips of the element. in
And you
out.
know, so I make antennas for the masses here. You
Yes.
know.
Right.
And-
Not the specialty.
No,
Yeah.
and you know, and if a guy calls wanting something special, I'll make it.
Right.
But it can't be a month, or it can't be a whole end. And we need some special parts. I make parts all the time for stuff. I sell aluminum for golf carts, sluice boxes, architectural aluminum, all
So
kinds.
sluice boxes for gold
Yeah.
industry.
Yeah, yeah. Mythbusters. I've got it, man. If they call, and if you look, I'm cheap compared to most people. I'm looking so cheap. Looking at the half inch, you know. You sell it for $8.65, and you throw it in the box and ship it free. Shit, you didn't make much money. So I gotta watch it. But see, we haven't raised our price for a year and a half. You think about that, a year and a half. In 2 years, it's gonna go
I've
up.
had to increase my price by 30% in the last year and a half.
It's what?
I've had to go up 30% in the last
I'm
year and a
gonna.
half.
I got a spreadsheet.
When everything costs 25% more in the last year and a half, you got to go up 25%.
I got spreadsheets that I try to use that if aluminum goes up 10 cents a pound, I got how much it weighs and how much it costs per antenna, and it shoots down and it'll tell me what my profit is over here, so I can measure it. So I had a kid working for me a year ago that did that. He's just smart as a whip, boy. You know, he worked with my boy. I wish I'd had him back, but he's working for Cat right now, and then he's going back to college, and just got brains boiling out of his head. I says, where did you learn all about computers? Is your parents smart like that? He said, no. Did you have it in school? He said, no. So where the hell did you learn it? He says, YouTube. They watch all this stuff on YouTube and learn this stuff. I learned stuff on YouTube. So
God bless the YouTube technician, fill in the blank.
I
Mechanic, computer expert.
I don't watch
internet
them.
Expert.
It makes experts and pros out of everybody.
they do, don't they?
I mean, even the simplest things you look up and you go, oh, okay.
Well, I've seen his face before. I get on the internet and it's how to assemble a Maco antenna.
Yeah, it's on there. But you know,
Him
2
standing
days
right
later-
over here putting the antenna together on YouTube.
2 days later, another guy put one on and he had it wrong.
Right?
And I got a little sample we'd take along, and one guy just couldn't get it, and that little short one, you know. And so I put it together wrong and took a picture. I took it right, and then I took it wrong and mailed it. And Kay walked by, and she says, "That antenna's put together wrong." I said, "I know, but that's the only way. Once you run into somebody once in a while that just can't do it."
Just can't quite
So
do
your
it.
little The little diagram you got over here,
Yeah.
this little antenna, is that what that's for?
Let's talk to California.
No, this little antenna right over here, is that what you have it for, so you can show where all the pieces go, or?
Yeah, that was just taken along so people could look at it. But that one's talk to California.
Actually, physically, as talk.
Physically talk to California.
You want to get me? I'll carry it over, Luke.
I got it.
You got it?
I got it.
Okay.
You guys are gonna laugh. This is cute.
I got people want to buy them for cars.
Oh, it is. When I first came in the door and seen it, I kind of chuckled about it.
Everything's normal except the overall length.
Yeah,
and
the length of
blueprint.
it.
Yeah.
But it's all physically there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They usually put this on wrong.
That's where the common mistake is the most common.
Yeah.
That you get calls about.
Yeah, they'll put it here and then run around, and then they'll put this over here, and it won't work. You buy a Workman,
They won't work.
I bought a Workman. The guy was advertising my antenna, Maco, and it was really a Workman. So I bought one, sent it to my daughter, and I got it up here. Okay, and I shut him down. Okay, so you can't advertise my stuff.
Sure.
Okay.
Copyright.
So then I had a guy in town here, an old guy retire, and he brought in an old antenna here. And we wanted to fix this, and he wanted to fix that. I said, I got something for you. I went out and got him that brand new Workman W58 and give it to him. He went home. He come back a week later and says, I can't get that thing tuned. He said, they don't tune worth a shit.
Oh no.
So what are the number one assembly issues that you deal with people calling in? Is it they're putting the...
They put this right here.
Okay.
So they install that wrong, and they they attach a center point of the coax in the wrong spot.
Yep.
That's the biggest
That's it.
complaint.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So they try to come over here?
Yeah.
Huh.
And it don't work. And people call and they watch the video, and it's still, in our print, our competitor copied us. They were putting ours in with their antenna, and so I had a new instruction sheet drawn, and I got a code in there that if somebody copies it, I'll know, because it's trademarked, then I'll know that they're copying my stuff. But it's when they
in the
call,
other video that
I usually
watched-
have them send a picture of this.
That's the first deal.
First,
Send me a
send-
picture.
Yeah, and if he's got all that together right, and sometimes it just depends. He maybe have it on next to a trailer.
And these can be tuned. How far which way and how far that way?
Well, I don't know how low, but I've had it up to 46 for the Prince of Dubai.
Really?
Just drop the link down.
But half of this
something.
was gone.
Yeah. You take that off.
Half of that was
Half
gone.
of that's gone.
And I don't know. I got a guy that's up by Rock Crystal Lake, that's a RF engineer that wants to make this for 40 meters and all. That wants to put it all together. I haven't contacted him yet because I got enough going on.
That'd be like 80, 90 feet. 80 feet.
And he's got traps in and all kinds of shit. I've got it. He's been here. I want to work with him, but I got to finish this other stuff.
There's quite a few hidden. You'll find here in Illinois, Chicago area. In this area, you'll find a lot of hidden little gems. These guys that are RF engineers that you never knew existed, that are out there that
I've
do,
got
that do stuff and are into stuff that until you meet this person that knows that guy, you'd never know it.
He's been here.
Yeah.
He wants to work for me, and he probably will. But it's been about 4 months, and I just got to catch up before you start something new.
So you have two different forms of insulator at your base.
Yep.
So you got the Teflon and then the Dowrin. And the difference between the two and the power handling capability is what?
Well, we say the other's 5,000. This is 1,500. This will hold 2,000. And that's the difference in the price. You ever price Teflon? Some of us.
Oh yeah. Virgin Teflon.
Do you ever use Teflon?
I do. I use it in plate chokes and insulators and standoffs, pass-throughs, and actually use it in control knobs.
How much do you use?
Not enough to make it worth buying it from anybody other than just when I need
I
it.
was going to give you some. I got 2 damn boxes full.
Yeah, but your idea of a box and my idea of a box are two
What?
wheelhouses.
Probably a lot. Probably that box is big.
Is it a big box?
Well, they're right over there. You can see them. Let's see. Come over here, you can see it better. They've got some old heat shrinks. Not a lot, but
He's a super nice guy, but he's got some deep pockets. That's the American dream.
my 83-year-old guy right now, we're cutting these off.
Oh, them
83.
The only place
My
it can-
hands ache looking at these clamps because I've had to take I don't know how many of these rusted, hardware screwed up clamps apart in my life.
These are aluminum.
Yeah, but then there's a nut that goes in here, right?
Yeah,
And then a set, right?
Yeah. And then gradually,
Oh Lord.
we can sell stainless if they want, but most guys don't want it. You put it together, it'll last 20 years, so they take it apart, and then just throw the shit away and buy new stuff. I don't know.
That's right there.
You buy
Yeah.
stainless.
Not most people. They'll take it apart and then they break the bolt, or then it.
You know what they do? They call here. I say, I'll have you another one tomorrow. We get it free. These antennas back here, there's nobody that's bought a skip shooter antenna that's ever had to buy another one if they broke it or something. I give them every one. Now see, have Fire Stick make that warranty. That's a press right there where we press pins in.
Love it. Love it.
Hey Terry, what they do here, this is where they put the skip shooters together. We drill them out back and we grind them out back and we glue them. They wind them here. Put it through. Yeah. They wind them there.
How are you?
Good. Are you?
What we found out is when they order them, we don't put the coating on it.
Right. Red, white, and blue, of course.
So it's like a heat shrink material. Right?
What?
It's like a heat shrink.
Yeah.
Almost.
There's
PVC.
all the Wilson dies. Here's all the Wilson prints.
So the old Moonrakers and stuff like that.
No, not the Moonraker. They didn't make the Moonraker.
Who made the Moonraker?
Avanti.
It's an Avanti.
And that guy
That's it.
died.
Yeah.
Now I got the rights to make all they got push-up towers. They got everything. I can make anything here I want. I've got a lot of parts, but hell, I don't have time. They want traps, and I hate winding traps.
The biggest thing now is a lot of people.
What?
A lot of people want hairpins now.
Yeah.
They want different, tuning.
Yeah. And we'll make hairpins, but my God, I quit taking orders because everybody wants something. They all want it tomorrow,
Oh yeah.
and I can't keep up.
You should just make the parts and make it available so people can utilize the parts for the hairpin.
Oh, we do. We sell it. You can buy any part we got on the Antenna Parts Outlet. They're coming. It's got to be set a certain speed and a certain heat or it'll break.
Yeah, all time.
How long you been here, Terry? 8 years?
Almost 10.
Kay's been here 14. Clarence has been here 8. Joe's been here 14.
Wow.
I wish Joe was here so they could meet him.
Yeah. Good old guy.
So you guys are
You wanna
using
meet him?
inducted
I'll
hot
head
air,
somebody
right? Not
over.
infrared.
Joel the 80-year-old?
Yeah.
Hot air.
83.
105 years old.
Yeah. Well, you want to meet him? I'll bring him over.
Oh, no, you don't have
They go get him.
to. 83 years old. Still working.
What do you think I give him for his birthday every year? 5th whiskey.
He still drinks, huh?
Before he goes to bed, he says, sleep like a baby.
Ah, that's funny. Put the ends on and it's all done. Look at that.
Now we have a hard time keeping up with these, you know.
Yeah, I know Bob uses a lot of them out there. He puts them on all semis.
What?
Bob Burns puts them, Bullet Bob puts them out there.
I got guys running. I got a guy down in North Carolina. I wanted him a special one, and he two of them, and he hit a bridge and broke one. He said, "I'm going to California. I need this thing by Monday." I said, "I can't get it there. It's Friday. I can overnight it, but you know, it'll be so high." He says, "I want it overnighted." He says, $130 for one antenna. And I said, "I'll tell you what, if you're going to pay $130, I'm going to give you two antennas." So he paid $130 shipping, and I give him two antennas.
Holy smokes.
And he calls all the time.
That's crazy. Trim the end
So then you got to
up,
trim it at the end. Yep.
What temperature is that at that comes through, roughly? 305. 305?
You don't want to go up or down.
Yep, that's the magic one.
Yeah. It took a while to get, you know.
Sure.
You know what's so special about skip shooters, right? Luke, what's so... Fire sticks and all of them, the wire comes down and soldered right here. It hits something that breaks. We got a flexible braid. If it hits something, the braid will bend, it won't break. That's what's different about us.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. That's why.
I did not know that.
Bullet Bob puts like 7,000 through one. But if you do that, you need to put some stuff down in here to
Keep it free and lubricate it.
Otherwise, it'd just.
Most guys it don't bother, but you get guys running 7,000, 8,000 watts. Now here's this.
I've got one of these. I've got one of these, and it's bigger brother, and it's bigger
That guy
brother.
there has more brains
That's awesome.
boiling out of his head about antennas.
Well, last time I was through, which was
Yes,
years
sir,
ago,
American Beauty.
It's the same crew.
The king of the
Well,
solder
not
iron and
him.
the solder pots.
He's
different.
new?
Yeah.
This one.
He's a wild cow catcher. What? Goes all over the
Right.
United States catching wild cows. Just loose.
Sometimes it just takes a little bit.
Rodeos,
Using
and now
Kestrel
he's got
60
cancer, and
at
now
60/40.
he's sitting here. He knows what's going on. We made a mistake on an antenna.
Love
The
it.
switch got out of whack. He took it out. He's got that truck out here. So this thing's perfect.
Right.
It's called me. He rolls down the road sending code.
What was your
He's
name?
talking over
Chuck?
west of Africa.
Nice to meet you.
From some little island on code coming over.
Nice to meet you, Luke, BBI.
Going down the Yam Road.
I couldn't even do that sitting still. I learned it years ago. I'm so rusty at it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm sure Fire Stick's got an easier way to put stuff together, but you know, I bet you Fire Stick don't give another one away when one breaks.
No, they're probably pretty greedy.
That's all the prints for Wilson. This is all the Wilson dies.
Okay, explain to me what this is one more time so I actually get it on video. Makes sense.
These are for Wilson. These here are Wilson. Yeah, let's see what's in here. I need some fingernails. There's a Wilson amateur antenna right there. An M68. I got the parts to make them all, everything. And I get amateur radio guys calling me up. I've got some place in here where they got there's old Wilson stuff. I got it in here with
How old do you think this picture is?
in the 50s and 60s.
Wow.
And the prints are down here. They took them off of.
Wow.
Here's a. Got all the traps, everything. I've got everything to make it. No time.
And these are all the dies.
That's the dies. That's an extrusion die for tubing.
Right.
This is our
Push die.
This is our $25,000 die that makes that hub.
Really?
Weighs 600 pounds, yeah.
Please note,
When I
it's got
wa-
its own committed piece of equipment to put it on the truck and take it off when it comes back.
It's what now?
Got its own committed piece of equipment to put it on the truck and take it off when it comes
Well,
back.
I gotta move it. I really need that truck and start moving this stuff.
Right.
Now, when you look at this tubing out here, the shipping shut off because we just, you know, you got
Too late in the day. Yeah.
Well, yeah. But the next day, there's plenty more. We're gonna go this way. This stuff here, I got a place I burn it, but it's so hot, you're gonna see it's over at the other building. So it's just packed up here.
At least it's not super hot today. It's warm, but it's not like super hot.
There are storms here pretty soon.
I spent so much time washing my
That's
truck
junk
yesterday.
there for the junk man.
I don't know what I hit coming through Nebraska, but they have a bug there that's about the size of my thumb.
What is?
A bug.
Some bug that was in Nebraska.
In where?
Nebraska, just when I came into Nebraska out of Wyoming, there was a bug there that's about the size of my thumb, and it just coated the whole front of my Suburban. I had to wash the radiator out yesterday.
Tom, it's just a fold-over section. These are foldovers. Tom,
Tom,
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
are fold-over sections right
Yep.
here
Yeah.
for folding over.
yeah, so you
Yeah.
fold the
There's
top
more.
over.
We got more.
Yeah, right here.
That is,
I've
I've never seen anything like
I've never
this.
seen that. I didn't know they made it. So it has it here. So
It's all three legs. So you just pop the bolt out of one leg and fold it.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to have a top plate. You wouldn't have to have folding plate on the bottom.
Right. I guess. I don't know. I've never seen one before.
I've never seen that. There's some 106s. 4.
This is those rings here that we're drilling. If you look in them boxes there, they're all gammas. What the hell's back here? More boxes.
These are made in Schiller Park in by Chicago.
So he's summer help. I'm drilling them now, so this winter when we get busy and less help that he can take over.
Sure.
Or, you know, he'll be.
Let me ask you this, Tom.
What?
Who is gonna take over when you retire? Who's gonna take over this?
I mean,
who-
got some money went in.
But somebody's gonna have to carry this on. I mean, it can't just go.
I don't know how.
I mean, this.
If-
There's so much.
If a person won a good business, this is it.
I mean,
If
'cause-
people don't get it, if you're in the radio business and you're stable and you're honest with people, it's like a license to print money.
Oh,
These other
And just
two
be
are the
honest. And
same.
if you can't
Come
do
on.
it, say no. You know, I don't.
We're gonna get in my truck. That other building down there is mine. It used to be the greenhouse, that long one right here. That's where there's Corvettes and motorcycles and spare parts. There's I want to make sure you're here. Yeah, you lock this and then go and unlock the rest of them.
We'll start over. Okay.
There's a Corvette in that trailer.
Believe it. So let's start over. Okay, you were telling us in the truck that you buy just one. This is what they call universal tower systems,
Yes,
correct?
Yes.
Okay, go. Explain.
They used to sell it by a 40 by 60 would be a wind load of 4, 60 feet high. Okay, so you sell one of those, and then somebody comes and he wants 5 by something else, and you're missing a section because you're selling tower sections. So now we just buy the piece, and when they want a tower, we come over and we can make what they want. And here's another thing: you buy this stuff here from Universal. The company takes your credit card, and you get it 3 months later.
what, are they that back
And
up, or it's just that?
what
much?
do? Is it 3 months or 3 weeks? It's a long time. I ship it the same day.
Because
That's like
it's
Roan
so
45
well-made,
tower,
they
right?
just keep
That's the way they are.
the way they operate
Yeah.
the business.
I ship this shit the next, you order it today and it'll be out here tomorrow.
So if that was Roan 45, you'd have to pick that up with a piece of equipment. Pick that up with one finger.
I know, look at this. One,
Yeah, see, now this is
Yeah.
strictly, you can push, these are all push-up towers. And there's some heavy, there's the last Ronin,
What's a wind rating, do you know on this?
oh, they're all different. Depending on what size parts you use.
So this is the last
You know.
brand new Roan.
What?
What is this? The last brand new what? Hazer?
Hazer.
That's a last Hazer.
See, that there, you gotta make. You have to make them,
Yeah, that's mine.
but you have to make them. I mean, those
So
are
now there's the aluminum version of that.
unreal.
Now is this buried in the concrete? Do you put this in
Yeah.
the concrete base?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're thinking about it in reverse.
That's what it is. So then it tips down from there.
Right.
Folds down, and then you put it back up. What locks it in place? Oh,
Another
it's got-
bolt.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, yeah.
Son of a gun. I didn't even know.
So what happens is when we sell something, then we send the guy over in the truck and he can come down through and he can pick the tower out. Okay, I'll give him, we'll say we need a 14 straight and a 14 top, and he can just pick it up because everything's measured. And this thing will be full here in a couple weeks. He said a week it'll be coming. So
How much of this do you sell? Is it a common thing to sell? This sells pretty
no, but people don't buy it because they've got to wait so long.
because it's a long.
And
wait time.
I tell them we ship the next day, and when they call, that they usually buy it, you know. And we don't care because it's picking up eventually, you know. We run a little classified ad in QST magazine, and we don't advertise hardly any place.
That's the whole part here. You don't advertise. You don't spend a lot of money on advertising.
None hardly.
None.
Well, and stuff we sell on Amazon,
Well, yeah, but that's
is high.
Roller wire, the rig expert stuff like that stuff you sell.
Yeah.
But not many people know about everything that you're involved in.
It sounds like he can barely keep up with what he's doing now. How could he grow
sound
any?
like what?
How, you're barely keeping up with what you got going on now. How could you grow any? You'd have to hire 5 more people. 10 more.
Lots of work.
Now, most of us are walking by this pile of money that's sitting here.
Shelving.
That
ex-
money, that's money, like,
That's excess.
right, but you and I both know how much this costs.
Yep.
Just these pallets here, put a number on it. Just the pallets just to hold the shelving. What would you guess?
I mean, what it's worth?
Yeah.
Or what
Well,
I
if you were
want
to
for
if
it.
you were going to go out and buy that, what do you think that would sell for?
Well, I see these. Hell, I don't know. I imagine there's $4,000 there.
more,
More?
much
Yeah.
more,
Well, come on in here.
much more. Hub material.
Look at this.
There's no lights in here, okay?
Good Lord. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
This is the only light I got, okay?
For now.
You can take it and shine it where you want. That's all aluminum.
this too. He's opening the door. So you're all stockpiled with aluminum tubing in here.
This goes on and on and on.
Oh my Lord.
This is extruded clamp sections.
Don't put the pictures where it come from on there.
No, of course not.
It comes right from the mill.
Yeah.
Cut them pieces.
This goes on and on and on.
Is that a lot of aluminum?
Oh Lord.
There's more. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't even imagine the price tag of that.
I can't either.
I mean, you don't even want to probably know about it, do you?
I don't know what's here yet. We just put the shelves up. Now we're going to start and then we're going to start putting the stuff away.
Yeah, start organizing.
Yeah, it's just through up there right now.
You guys can't see it, but it just goes on and on and on and on and
Walk the
on.
place and fix
and
it
on.
up.
Yeah.
I got a couple 100,000 in this now. Just see this place. This was 4 feet high with dirt. I had to dig it out and then cement it in, and then we there was coons in here and coon shit, and we had to power wash the whole building inside out and out. And then we insulate it, and then we put OSB. Are we ever going to heat it? No, but somebody might want to someday.
Yeah, you got a nice loft up there for storage.
You plan ahead.
Yeah, I
Up,
mean,
up there, there's a.
yeah, somebody could make a shop out of this and have an office up there or whatever eventually.
Pull me a toilet and a shower, and
Yeah.
But
yeah,
well, I got the water out there. You just got to get it in here.
right.
And the electrical's right out. You know, the electrical's right up there. They're going to put a new pole in.
Well, you got to remember, I'm driving, and I got a truck full of equipment that I'm trying to deliver too.
Let's go. Let me go around and look at the other side once.
His idea of a little box of Teflon.
That might be the big one.
Look at that.
Oh, that's it. 5/8 now, 103s.
I want to go to Walcott because I wanted the brick and mortar business in this hobby is gone.
Now, did you go to the truck stop or did you go to the
Both.
warehouse?
I went across the street to their actual shop, checked it out, and then I
Did
went.
you go to the warehouse in Davenport?
No, I just went across the street, across the interstate.
Yeah, that's Walcott. They also have a
Remember when
warehouse.
I got there yesterday? It was the 4th of July, so
Yeah.
nothing was open.
There's a warehouse in Davenport too.
Okay.
That's where we ship everything.
Do you?
My
Yeah.
first hotel that I was going to stay at was in Davenport, and I pulled up and no.
Said no.
Yeah, they're right.
Some chick slamming dope in the parking lot, literally.
Oh.
Needle hanging out of her arm, and I'm like, no,
I
I'm
was,
not
I
staying
was,
here. I'm good.
I was
you know.
surprised, when I went in there, it was a new building and new racks, and it was clean, and
Yeah,
they're
brand
just
new
selling
building.
the hell out of stuff for us.
He's got a really great piece of property, nice big area for them to do installs around back, and
Yeah,
it's
they
like
do a
it's
lot
like
of
he was
business.
serious about it. But then you got to think. I was just having this debate the other day with one of my friends. How many brick and mortar CB shops really are there left in the United States?
How many real CB shops?
Like brick and mortar, not I am working in my mom's basement, I work on CB radios. How many real CB shops are there left?
There's only one repair shop that in our area, which is by Rockford, on Interstate 39, is Jerry CB. He's the only guy that came from a brick and mortar back in the late 60s CB shop in Rockford. That was Bob's. Remember Bob?
Yep.
Bob CB in Rockford, out there in Meridian
And there are a
Road.
lot, yeah.
Yep, old Bob. Bob Stevens was his name. And I remember going in there in the 70s when I was a kid with my older brothers. And Bob came out of the military. He was a radio operator in the military, electronics technician. And he hit the CB market when it was starting to crank in the early 70s. And he had serviced everything. But I mean, anybody in this area knew who Bob Stevens was. Well, there's only one guy that worked for Bob that has a CB shop now, but it's towards the end in Rockford. But Bob, you'd go into his shop and he would have everything in there. Robin dealer, Johnson dealer, Tram dealer. He was a dealer for everybody in the repair for all of them. And he could fix anything. There wasn't nothing that Bob could not fix. And he ran twin Moonrakers, I believe, back in the day.
It was a big tower.
He had a big tower and he ran two Moonrakers.
It must have been a 100-foot tower.
Yeah. And he was right out by Channel 17 and
Yep.
23 News out there in that area in Rockford on the west side. But he always had a cigarette in his mouth and he would fix everything. I mean, I just, the history behind it, there's no brick and mortar CB shops like that around anymore.
Just going to ask you, do you sell stacking kits for your beams? Like the actual T-mast at the top, the whole stacking kits?
Make anything anybody wants. We have some of the smaller ones here, but if somebody wants something big, then, I have to sit down and figure out how to.
What's the
Extend.
biggest quad you make?
3 right now.
3. Are
3
you
that
gonna
I'm
make one
selling.
bigger?
Well, I got the 4 in New Zealand. I just have to get that other thing priced out.
Because everybody's talking about quads.
I know.
They all want to start.
If you go in the warehouse and look out there, there is a 2-inch hub with 4 pins. Just like over there, only it's 2-inch. For that. I got a whole barrel full.
What about I know you got bombarded with questions about beams and antennas, but the Moxon, is that the way you say it? The Moxon antenna, are you familiar with that? Where it's square, where they're all square. And I've seen some resurgence of people starting to design those and coming out with that.
Yeah, they're coming out with all kinds of
Coming
stuff.
out, they're coming out with that. I think LFA antennas, it's an Italian company, or I think LFA is coming out with that type of antenna.
I just seen an antenna on YouTube. I could have no idea what the hell it was.
I don't think there should be a 90-degree angle on anything that's
No.
emitting RF.
Did
I
we-
think
did-
that
did
a
you ask
quad
Kate
should
what
be
that-
round. That's
Yes,
my opinion.
that's why I just wondered. I mean,
opinion.
they're coming out with some real technology that's, you're like, whoa.
Yeah, the thing is they come out with the technology, then they have to figure out how to make a
Does
profit.
it work? Yeah,
How to make the product.
Yeah, if you're just going to make it for yourself. People ask me, you know, how come your booms are so long or something? Well, it's got to fit in the box, man. Anything over, so UPS
More
won't
money
take
shipping.
it. Yeah.
It's freight.
So you just have to, you design stuff around a box. You don't have a choice. You ship something to a semi. I had, Tommy Yankster? I don't know,
Tommy
is that his
Gunn?
name?
Oh, you're talking about Tommy
Yeah, he just bought a one.
Mississippi.
He just bought something, and I think it boom was probably about $1,000 shipping. Shipping's outrageous.
He's a wildcat.
Is he any good?
Oh, he's a character. I've met him in person several times. He's a lot better now, but yeah, he's okay. He's okay.
I just only talked to him once. I want to be a Joe Gun.
You don't want to have a Joe.
So now you're
The
not
Joe
interested
Gun
in-
copied me.
You're not interested in a square boom.
Okay, so
Here.
what about like?
Joe Gun.
What, are you
I
interested in
could've
doing
bought-
like X brace cross support kits or backbone support kits, or maybe going to a 1-inch driven element so guys can put a little bit more horsepower to it without having to go to Corona balls on the end? Or
Oh, I can do anything. It's just time.
yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
And you know,
So what? Let's say for people watching, if somebody wants to build their own antenna and they call up your company, call on the phone, they say, I want 40 feet of 3-inch boom, and I want 8 elements, and I want I say I want 3/4 1-inch elements, and all that, you can set them up.
yeah, we couldn't use our boom element mounts. We'd have to use a T bracket or something.
There you go.
But we'll make anything for the money. And Joe over there, he works here because he likes to. He gets $15 an hour. He gets paid whether he comes to work or he don't. He sits back there and just I give him just a job to keep him busy. Then once in a while he'll work there. I could pay him more. He don't need it. I come in here one day after Thanksgiving and I hear boom, boom, boom. I go to Joe, what the hell you doing? I said, it's a holiday. He said, well, I wondered where everybody was.
Just working.
Just
If it
working.
wasn't for him keeping him working, he'd probably be dead.
And it's keeping him alive.
Yeah.
But his granddaughters are here, and his dad, or his son and daughter, and one of his granddaughters is a physician's assistant. I think they're probably getting ready to put him in someplace. You know.
Yeah. But it gives them something to do.
Yeah. And he gets paid. He gets paid whether he comes or not. Okay. He only works about 4 days a week.
So-
Some days only 2.
With the antennas, it's kind of, I think people like to hear that, because the marketplace, you have DX Engineering, they sell aluminum, and everybody sells antenna parts, but a lot of people probably don't even put 2 and 2 together and say, I can call Maco and I can build my antenna, but they just need the parts.
Yeah, it's under Antenna Parts Outlet. That's where we sell it.
There you go.
And
Antenna parts out. All right.
and
So here we go. That's
we
good to know.
we can sell anything, and our prices are a lot cheaper. But in December they're going to have to go up.
There you go.
Just because the boxes are and here you put a 1/2-inch tubing, and the box is 6 inches wide, 2 inches thick. I'm trying to get some narrower boxes, maybe like 2 1/4.
To cut down the.
Yeah, and if it cuts the price of the box. If it don't cut the price of the box, it won't make any sense getting it, because I already got it,
Yep.
I need something else.
Well, it's good to know. I mean, because I've contemplated doing that myself. It's just, and coming over here and saying, hey, I'm going to get this,
Go
and this.
shopping.
And, yeah. and just piecemeal it, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to set up my test tower, and I'm going to build it. You know, I'll make my own vacuum tuner and my own hairpin, or I'll do a direct feed. You know, so.
My antenna I'm going to put up, I think, is a 8-element Gizmochi and a 3-inch boom, and it might be long. I don't know how many long it's going to be. I made them hubs for Budweiser 360.
Yeah.
He never called, and Clarence would like to see one put up, so we're probably going to go down, stretch that bitch out, and take that linear down there. And I got a Kenwood TS2000 down there, and we'll just see what happens.
So I put up an antenna. We're talking about something that's off the books here that is fully isolated. It's all the
Because
those are hot sellers. The direct
The
feed,
direct
the
feed is a
hairpin.
big deal right now.
That those are a huge.
yeah, to come out with a new antenna, you have to have the draftsman, and I got a really good draftsman, draw all the prints, and then you have to write the instructions, and that takes time. Then you got to go out and have a guy put it together to make sure the written instructions and everything, the parts, and then you have it printed, then you can sell it. By the time you get done, you have close to $5,000 in it.
In your, have you met or had the opportunity to meet or discuss with other antenna builders? Like there's a fellow we know, and I'm friends with him. His name's Daniel Leopold, and he is Mr. Coyley, and he makes antennas. He was out there in your end. He moved down to Georgia. There's in Chicago, you've got Colossal.
Yeah.
And there's
I
all
know
these
Tom.
different. Have you? Yeah, Tom's a nice guy. So you've met some of those
Oh, yeah.
fellas?
Tom, I tried to tell him how to save money on tubing, but he buys at DX Engineering.
Yeah, Tom's a nice guy.
No, why would you? No.
But I don't.
What?
Yeah, that's the part when. Why not listen to the guy that's been doing it successfully for years?
I went special to. I met him. He bought a big Gamma 30,000 watt from me at the FM Hamfest in Belvedere, and I went the next year to see him. And I was going to try to tell him how to buy aluminum, and I told him how, but he still buys it, I think, from DX Engineering.
And he's got a special niche with the Colossal and some of the antennas that he does make.
He said a lot of the amateur radio guys are giving him shit because he's making them.
Yeah, yeah.
He's a nice guy.
He's a very nice guy. Very, very knowledgeable. That's why I just wondered if you've met. Now, we're not going to bring up Joe Gunn and that stuff, but there's a few antenna builders out there that do things. And I wonder if you
Here's
ever.
the story. Joe Gunn, Tony Pelco Electronics. He's an old guy. I said, "Is Joe Gunn for sale?" He said, "Oh, no, he was one of the, I'll find out." He called up and says, "Yeah, they'll talk to you." So I went down, and Tom was alive yet. And we went through there, and he probably had 300-400 pounds of aluminum, 4 or 5 benches with drill presses and bending, and that was it. And he wanted 400,000. Pretty well told me that my antennas were junk, okay? And he didn't piss me off. I come home and I just told him it was just too much money for me, you know. Then they dropped it to 300, you know. It went down a little ways, then he died, okay? Then the guy selling it called me up. And he wanted, I don't know what it was, maybe 100 for it or something. And that's when I started having AFib. And they called me up one day and says, "We'll take $20,000 for it." I just got out of the fucking hospital. I should have said, "I'll take it." But I said, "I'll be down next Friday." Well, next Friday, I was back in the hospital. So I could have had it for $20,000. All I probably would have did was trademark the name and just leave it set. I don't know. But they copied us years ago. They just went to Square Boom. So I really don't pay much attention to what the guy. I look at their stuff, but I don't want to steal anybody's idea. Now you know who Kale is. Kale, Predator 10K.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. I called him up one day, just a cold call, see if he wanted to sell. And we got to be friends. Went down to Texas and took him out to eat at Babe's Chicken, which is a good place, and got talking, and he was sick at the time, and I said, well, he had a brother-in-law working for him that was a prick. He didn't like him. He told me that. And then he started getting better. I said, "You need to run this until you don't want to run it anymore, and then sell it to me." And then he got better. And he's had people call him who tried to buy him out, and he said, "Well, I'm going to sell it to Tom." He told me he's going to do it when
Would
he's...
you still buy it?
He told me he was going to do it when he's 80. He's 83 right now.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, and I told him, he says, well, it wouldn't be much money. There's not much here.
So-
if the price was right.
So talk about the myth of Joe Gunn saying that they have a super audio.
Okay, so that was one topic I didn't know how to get into. Hold on. So this is one topic I definitely did not know how to segue into. I was
That
sitting.
I just did?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
sitting. I was sitting in Tyler, Texas, one time at a guy's house, and I'm looking through the old advertisement magazines. You know, pre-internet. This is how people got shit done. They made flyers. Right? So I'm sitting there and I'm reading this advertisement. That says twice the audio and 4 times the gain, and I'm like, okay.
What a sales.
So I flipped to the next piece of paper, and it happened to be for maybe another antenna, and there was none of that BS on the paper. What? How did that all? The
Where did all
whole.
the smoke and mirrors come
Where
from?
does smoke and mirrors start back in the day?
I don't know. Let me tell you this one. I probably should have showed you them. I can show you that specs in that 2 meter if you want, and our 3 element, because we got them. We're not putting out nothing that we can't back up on a computer. Now, antennas, when you design them, element length and spacing, okay, that controls your gain, but it also controls your front to back. So what we've been doing, we found out that when we work front to back, we can lose about a half a dB, but we can close the front back up. I got one that's got 95 dB front to back. So we're going, there's nothing that you can buy to increase front to back, but there sure as hell something that you can buy for power, and that's linears.
Yeah, but the antenna does most of the work.
Yeah, but that's why we're closing up the back.
Right, but the
So-
antenna still does all the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why, yeah. But you've got to have, if it's close and you've got a lot of power, you've nothing going out the back. And that's what we've been going. And we find out that if you moved it just a little bit, it made a hell of a difference. You've got to be on within 1/8 of an inch on some of this stuff that we've got. And
Oh, we find that out tuning an antenna. Once you're actually tuning it for a certain channel or frequency, and you're tuning it, we find that moving an element in or out a 1/16 to an 1/8 of an inch will change everything. It'll change it a lot. And guys are yanking and moving a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch out, or they're sliding it this way, and next thing you know, they're lost because they've moved so many things.
Yeah.
And I've learned from people that I know that are good at tuning antennas that you stick with the driven element and you don't move too far off either way. Then you start moving around with your elements. You try to concentrate on one area first, and you're talking about getting so much gain. And we get back to what I was saying about the super audio, the Joe Gunn, that there really isn't a antenna that increases your audio.
I know that.
There's
So
no
it's
such
just
thing.
it's no such thing. It's
It's an
a
advertisement gimmick.
it's used car sales.
I designed an antenna here. It was going to make it a Super 8, okay? And I would take a driven and a reflector, and I would move it around until I got the most gain and everything. And then I'd add another one and keep going. It took a long time. I went out to 8 elements, I think like 42 feet. But between the driven element and the director, it was 4 inches. That's how I got the most gain out there. Clarence put it together, but the damn thing, the wind gets blowing, it arcs out. So we made some Teflon things to stick on it, but I don't think he's put them on.
Now you worked on this. This was a while ago because you were talking about this years ago.
Oh, I've worked on that. That was about 3 years ago.
This has been a while.
Yeah,
We've
I just-
The other
discussed
problem
this.
we're having is the RF will, you get to a point where it'll just crawl from the driven to your first director.
It's what now?
It'll crawl. It'll literally just arc over.
It'll
Yeah,
arc.
yeah.
That's what we're finding.
But when you bring that first director in, your response to the antenna goes way broad. So instead of being, 10 channels wide, now you can flatten it out and get almost a. But you can't put a lot of power to the antenna like that. It just the elements will
I
disintegrate.
When we're running 5 watts, sometimes at
5
ours.
watts.
5 watts.
5 watts.
5 legal watts.
Yeah, I just wish the guy that I had working for me before was still working. He was just had brains boiling out of his head, and
Yeah.
the COVID got it, and Chet out here's got it, but I have to train him on the computer, and then we're going to bring the other guy back. We use 2 modeling programs. We use one, and then we use the other one, and I don't even know the name of it right now. And you can have it set it for the dB or the gain, and you can set there on the computer, and you can watch it moving those elements. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah. It's called optimization.
Yeah, and it works.
What's the longest boom antenna that you've played with?
Man, you were asking all the questions I was going to ask.
42.
Love it. I just have to sit here.
Probably about.
Take it away.
I think about
Take it away.
43 or 48. Probably thinking about 43 is where I was getting it.
Yeah, where you're starting to get it.
And you could probably go bigger. I don't
Where
know.
you were starting to see some big numbers on
But
games.
see, then he runs into the same thing with how do I put that in a box to get that to a
Yeah,
customer and
exactly.
do it en masse?
Yes.
I always tell people your antenna's the biggest part of your damn system. You
Yeah,
know,
we agree.
It's
Oh,
got to
totally. You'll
Antenna
never
and
get an
coax.
argument from me.
Yeah, antenna and coax.
be. Yeah.
Antenna and coax.
People say, "Oh, I got a new antenna, but I have some coax here about 20 years old."
There you go.
You know how many times people call here that got a jumper that's shorted out, you know, just one of the little ground wires, and a lot.
Yeah.
And you
or,
know-
or the way people solder ends on
Yeah.
Oh.
is horrendous. Let's just say horrendous.
Yeah. And they say, well, all this stuff is new. I just bought it. And I said, that don't mean anything. Who soldered the ends on that damn connector?
In today's world, solder. Man, I got them DX Engineering. They're hydraulically crimped. That's way better.
I
In
got,
what universe is that better?
I got some guys here who are pretty good solders. Clarence back
I'm
there,
watching a gentleman back there
You
tonight.
went through
he
now,
makes them all. And
you went through a training. You had these guys trained.
the people that
Explain
at
that.
Honeywell, the people that had the solder stuff to go to the moon, Cliff Clanky trained them, and he retired them. He went to Highland. He was my teacher at Highland for welding too. I called it Highland, and I hired him to come down here and train everybody. There were 6 of us, and it worked pretty good. And then, okay,
It's a
so
soldering iron.
I got a
Okay.
soldering iron tattooed
Yeah.
on my arm. Yeah, come
And
on,
then-
get it. I'm one of the club.
Yep.
Okay.
I called him up the second time. He said, I don't work for him anymore. He says, but you know, he says, I need a TV and TV antenna and a rotor. I says, well, come on down.
Come on
But
down.
he walks in here, he looks like an old plumber. He got an old hat, you know,
Yeah.
and working on a motorcycle.
And he was a Honeywell. He was a Honeywell guy.
well, he was always a teacher at Honeywell.
At Highland?
They
At-
hired
okay.
him. They hired him. Yeah, he was good. He was good. And he gave everybody homework, and my wife went through it, and I went through
See,
it.
I bet you that people don't even know. Most people don't even know that you do coax.
The
Or
what?
You do ends of coax, or you do that type of work. People don't even know
It's on the
that,
webpage. It's on the Maco webpage.
Is it on there?
Yep.
that they do it.
What we do,
They do ends and they do jumpers.
Wow.
Yep, and coax link.
I
to
think
order.
what we do, we get $6 for the ends, and we put them on.
Good ends. They're good ends.
Amphenol,
Yeah.
right?
What?
Amphenol, good stuff.
Yeah, I think that's what we get.
Well, my man, it is time for me to depart this station. You've given me 3.5 hours of your day, and I'm grateful for it.
Well,
It's a pleasure to get to meet you.
don't get me in any trouble on here.
No.
Like I said, you'll get to look at this several times before it comes out to the public.
Yeah.
But
I'll have my wife or some. I got ADHD, okay.
you do too.
Yeah, and
I think a certain class of us, we all suffer from that
Yeah.
because I have a short attention span when it comes to things, and I'm like over there, and I'm 9 steps ahead, and I get that.
Patiently waiting for everybody to catch up to where you're at in train of thought.
And when you meet somebody,
It is so hard for me to sit and wait for somebody to catch up to
Oh.
where they need to be. It's like you cannot see the next 15 steps. What the? Okay.
but when you meet somebody that your brain's on the same level, and you're both are trying to fight for the next thing because you're both on the same level. Yeah, I suffer from that too.
my wife, I drive her crazy, and we go to the doctor one time. You got
Well, yeah, every time
anxiety,
you
you
leave
know.
town, you're buying a house or
Yeah.
business or.
Or a new car.
When's she gonna come home? There's gonna be a tank parked in the front yard.
Like I said, I just bought a new car last night. A tank?
A tank? Yeah, why not?
Maybe a Cannon. I had a Cannon, but the police threatened to come and get it.
It has been a pleasure meeting you. You're my kind of guy, bud.
Aren't you glad you slipped through here? You got to stop. It's
Oh,
We're,
man.
you know, we're just going to be going along like we are.
Well, you keep taking care of your health, though.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check in on you from time to time. Make sure you're keeping.
Yeah. I watch you guys on Facebook. I never say much.
Do you?
But if there's somebody that says something that they want to answer, like, how do you figure the link to the coax, and I'll put that on there.
Well, have fun with that.
But I'm not going
And
to
also
win.
have a really good time doing a YouTube video explaining resonant length of jumper. For reactance and capacitance and inductance.
This guy gets into all the technical stuff.
Have
about
fun with
the
that.
people.
You go do that. I'll go over and just fix boxes because I don't want to do those videos.
Yeah.
There's too many experts.
You have to wait and see this.
I want to.
This guy's a genius is making
And I'd love to
these.
try and melt one.
What?
I said I'd love to try and melt one. I got a 100K dummy load, so we can go there.
You'd like to try to melt one.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you one to melt.
I've got a 100,000 watt amp, and
five watts.
We're advertising it at 15 RMS,
Yeah.
but it'll take 18.
I cannot wait for you guys to see the new digital bird meters are getting ready to come out. I cannot wait to show everybody the new digital meter that's coming out from LP with the new line couplers that work with coaxial dynamics and bird elements. There's so much stuff going on in the background that I got my little fingers and I cannot wait to show everybody.
This hobby is really taken off, and the companies are seeing the money in it, and people are. I mean, it's incredible. It's amazing that the CB hobby. We're in 2023, and the CB hobby is still alive.
Mm-hmm.
It's still alive.
I see some
Where is
younger.
Telepost from here?
I see
He's in
younger.
Indiana, isn't he?
Telepost.
Yeah. LP. Telepost.
Oh yeah. That's Indiana.
You're getting younger kids in it. You need them.
Well, and yeah, you have to get them involved. I mean, I have a son. He's 27. He enjoys it. He enjoys all the stuff. But that's
Still
all.
trying to figure out why he bought a 32 filters car.
Oh, him?
I
Yeah.
remember that post. I bought it for my son's car. It's gonna be a ride around truck.
And you know what? He'll never. He doesn't. Yeah. He wanted to do it because his dad does it.
Right.
You know,
It's that deal.
my daughter was in the Army. She works for Cisco now for the FBI and the Treasury Department. But when she was in the Army, she's in communications. And when in Kosovo, when they set a 400-foot tower up there, nobody would crawl up for the Air Force. Nobody would crawl up and put antenna. So she did it.
No
Set up with a
kidding.
helicopter.
Holy smokes.
I was in Savannah Army Depot.